if you're just tuning in, go ahead and not go ahead and drop a note in the chat. Where are you tuning in from? Where are you from, and where are you tuning in from? Those are both interesting things to hear about. So let me make sure we've got our guests, and our guests seem like they are here. There's one other guest that I just want to co-host. Okay, let's read a few of these. Tampa, Florida; Kentucky; Virginia Beach; Albuquerque, New Mexico; Ontario, Canada. We've got Texas; Chino Hills, California; Salt Lake City, Utah; Pensacola, Florida; Atlanta, Georgia; Ohio; Boynton Beach; Louisiana; Texas; Wisconsin; Charlotte, North Carolina. Good evening from Miami. Hey, Larigato. Mesa, Arizona, says Paul Ramirez. Doug Williams is in New Bern, North Carolina. Carrie Marshall is in Alberta, Canada. Jessica Reen in Houston, Texas. Beth Hayes in Sandy, Utah. How about that? Zoom user is in Bowie, Maryland. Michelle Burns in Tampa, Florida. What's up, Michelle? We've got a Zoom user in Kentucky. Kelsey Beck in Illinois. Jervine Summers in Virginia Beach. Susan Lowen in Havre, Montana. And these are pouring in faster than I can keep up. Lots of Canadians here tonight. Saskatchewan, Red Deer, Toronto. Welcome to the Canadians. We have people from Mexico, and this is awesome. Okay, this is coming in way too fast. I can't even read them. They're coming in too fast. So welcome everybody to this call. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds. I'm going to push the record button and we will get started. If you have somebody that you've invited to this call, you could let them know. If you don't see them here in the chat, let them know that we're about to get started and they want to jump on immediately. Holy cow, there are 260 people here live already. This is going to be awesome. Let me push the record button here. Welcome everybody to this call. Every single week, same time, same place, same link. We have a call all about the protocol that we follow. This protocol has been life-changing for me and for many people around the world. And tonight, I am so excited to talk about something that is truly special. Tonight, I have a special guest or a lineup of guests on this science call. Now, many of you that are here all the time, in fact, if this is not your first time, let's say you've been on one or more of these calls already, would you put the word repeat? Put repeat in the chat, in the comments, if you have been on one of these before, or maybe you've been on several, more than you can count. Welcome all of our repeaters. Look at that. Repeat, 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 repeat. Why would so many people be coming back to another call? Well, it's because what we're talking about is just so transformational. It's just so important. The mission is just so important. And if somebody that you love or somebody that you care about is struggling with their metabolic health, with their hormonal health, their gut health, or any aspect of their health, you can invite them to these calls and you could very likely save or change a life. They will thank you later. So, welcome to all the repeaters. Hey, if you're new, if this is the first time you've been on a call, put new in the chat. There are lots of newbies. In fact, most of our newbies we're not going to see here in Zoom. Oh, there are a lot of newbies here in Zoom. How about that? We're going to see a lot of our newbies over on Restreams on YouTube, Facebook, and some of the other platforms that we Restream on. So welcome to all of you that are new. Now, I said tonight's call is going to be a little special, and it's by a little, I mean a lot special. So for the past few years, I have been doing these science calls with medical professionals, surgeons, doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, holistic doctors. We've had everything in between. We really, really have some of the most incredible people who have volunteered. I'm not paying these people to come on these calls. These are great people who are volunteering to contribute their skills, their talents, their education for this mission that we're on. And tonight's call is really special because there is a couple of people. Tonight, our guests will be Johnny Grandison and Beverly Grandison, who have been instrumental in turning hundreds, in fact, thousands, actually thousands of people onto this protocol. They've truly made life better for people that they know and many people that they do not know. And as a matter of fact, with the help of Dr. Esther Nare, who they turned on to this, and Esther now has built a massive, massive follow. In fact, we've had Dr. Esther on these calls as our medical professional. Nurse Carolyn Bird, Josephine Achira. There's a lot of people who have been part of this movement and have connected us to hundreds and thousands of people around the world. And now, just next month, in the month of April, they will be taking this to Kenya. We have multiple events that they have planned in Kenya where they will be taking this protocol to the great people of Africa and teaching them. Africa right now is the fastest. I mean, the number of diabetes cases and obesity cases in Africa is growing faster than any other country in the world. And so these two are about making life better and making a difference. And so I am so honored to now turn this call over to them and let them run this science call. We'll start by bringing on Johnny Grandison, and I'm going to give you the controls, brother, and just let you be kind of the man for tonight, you and Beverly, that is. Thank you so much for all the impact. Thank you so much for all the lives that you've changed and likely saved with your involvement here. And we're excited to have you host our science call this evening.
Well, we are so happy to be here. And Trent and Denise, we really want to thank you and your leadership, and along with our whole leadership team, just because they really trusted us to take care of our main people. And the fact is, it is people. I tell people that our business is helping people to be better than what they were before, because everyone here is an answer to someone else's prayers, and so we don't take that lightly whatsoever. And so we're excited about this particular call that's here. And before we get into it, I'll just introduce myself again. I'm Johnny Grandison. I'm newly retired engineer for the federal government. It's given me the ability to really hone in to help people right where they were. Where I've gone and taken care of sailors and seamen and soldiers and Marines. Now I get a chance to take care of my neighbors and other people in their likes. And so I'm really excited about that as we go forward. And for many of us, the reason we're here is because we had some health challenges of our own. For me, it was a diagnosis with Crohn's disease, and it gave me an opportunity to step back to say, what, I think some things are important, with health. And as I got to learn a little bit about the fact that Crohn's is a chronic inflammation, I got to learn the fact that inflammation is at the root of so much of the dis-ease that goes on across our whole community and across our whole nation, as well as the world. And I can remember my brother and I having a conversation about, just our family. We have been blessed to have a family reunion every 2 years. And then we move across the country because we have a very large family. And one of the observations we made is that the men in our family very seldom made it beyond their 70s. And I want you to take a pause with that right now, because many of you have parents or grandparents that might be in their 70s, 80s, 90s. And the fact that many of the men and across our entire family was not making it to 70s, we start realizing that, hey, now that I'm in my 50s, does that mean we're in our third or fourth quarter maybe? And so it gave us pause to say, you know what, we really need to look at some things that, even though we don't control tomorrow, we control what we do today and to make that type of impact. And so as we are learning more and more, it gives us the ability to share that information. It gives us the ability to sow into people so that they know something new tomorrow that they didn't know today. And maybe that helps them to have better tomorrows. Because even though we don't know how long we have, in our lives, we want to make sure whatever quality of life we have is very the best it can be in that time frame. So with that, I will go ahead and get started and bring on our first guest because we have a dynamic lineup of speakers that are going to be here. But the first one I want to bring up is Frank and Warlicia Fada. They've been very instrumental in our lives, reaching back, just because they have been in tune and lockstep with us as we continue to share on this mission of help and hope across the spectrum across the world. So they have a very interesting story and dynamics of how they came into play, and do we not do? But I want Alicia and Frank to share us a little bit about that.
Yes, thank you so much, Johnny. I really appreciate this opportunity for us to be able to tell our story. I seem to tell my story all the time to people because of the fact that it has really helped so much. The things that I have had to deal with, and over the last 2 decades, I've been a health and wellness coach myself, but still dealing with a lot of things. And I had migraines that was debilitating. I had sciatica pain. And when I get up out of the bed, I didn't know which leg to put down first because of the pain. And I also was overweight. We both were diagnosed with pre-diabetes. We had a host of things. One of the major things was I was chronically fatigued. I can sleep 10 12 hours at night, and I would still wake up so exhausted. So I knew there was something that had to change. And I thought what I was doing was doing a little bit of it, but I felt like, okay, I'm getting older. I'm 58, so I'm supposed to get these skin tags around my eyes. I'm supposed to feel tired. But all that led to was me being depressed, and I was on depression medication, those things. So when I was introduced to this by a really good friend of mine, I said, okay, let me try this. I'll try something. So, and I did, and I'm so happy that I did because I'm no longer dealing with all those aches and pains. I'm on no medication. 58, I feel great on zero medication, and I get up. I can sleep well at night and I wake up so refreshed. It's like nothing else. I've never tried anything that has made me feel this good ever before. And believe me, I've tried a lot of things, but this has really helped. So what, because it was helping me so well, I said, let me introduce it to my husband. Now, he was reluctant at first. I literally had to put him in a headlock and waterboard him in order for him to take anything. But he in December or no November, we went on a cruise and he decided to take it seriously and start on the program. But I'll let him tell you a little bit more about that.
All right. I'm fine. How's everybody doing tonight? Fortunately, I wasn't quite as say ill as my wife. I thought that's fortunate. That could just be for a myriad of things. But basically, I'll go into how I'm utilizing it. Um, I made a promise actually to Beverly. I said, oh, I'll do 90 days. Let me, see how I feel and if it changes anything. I basically, this was, I started this post marathon. So I had actually been training for a marathon for about 6 months prior to starting the field rate system. And I completed that marathon. And, but it was tough. It was my first one and, they're tough. So anyway, so now beginning in December, I was actually starting training for a half marathon, which was exactly 3 months later to that day, 12 weeks. So did the system. And it's really simple too. Well, Alicia would make me one every morning. I'm on the road a lot, so she would make me one. I'd have it in the car, and then she would slip a packet with a bottle of water so I could make it. So that was how I was able to do it every day, drink it, and it wasn't like anything extra that I had to do. It was almost like it became a routine. So that was good, and it tastes good too. So there was no issues with that. So come, I'm doing it. I'm feeling good, continuing the training. Besides my running, I also weight train 2 to 3 times a week. So I'm pretty active with it. And I would utilize it in the gym too. So instead of having a bottle of, say, pre-workout or like a Gatorade or something, this would be in the gym. And I would finish this whole bottle within my hour workout. So I would come home with an empty bottle. So if I wasn't working that morning and I was training, that would be in my bottle. And also I would use the bottle when I was running as well. I would have it. So I incorporated into my training. So I had the half marathon was 2 weeks ago, and basically I beat my prior half marathon time from the marathon by 20 minutes. So, and I actually, in terms of feeling great, I felt fantastic running it. I was not winded at all. My time, I ran that about nearly 2 minutes per mile faster than I did only 13 weeks prior. So that obviously that's a great improvement over 13 weeks. And then this past weekend, I ran another race in Florida. And for the first time, I ran straight 7 miles because in the marathon and half marathon, I incorporated some walking breaks in between, like a 30-second break every couple of miles. Well, this week in even hotter weather and not feeling well, I completed the entire 7 miles with no walking breaks, and which was a good boost too. And again, right before the race, I had, I had the drink right before it. But so in terms of that, I kept my promise to Beverly. I continue to drink it. I've now incorporated into my training. And that's it. I mean, everything. My weight wise, weight has continued to come off.
And
Go ahead.
he doesn't know I don't kick him out of the bedroom anymore because of his snoring. So his snoring got so much better. He used to inhale the house.
They need that air.
I know, right? But now he's much better.
Well, I think that's pretty much
Yes.
it.
Well, that's awesome. And we talk about families. That's one of the things we're doing on this phone is to, talk about families and how the interaction between, the things that are keeping us awake at night, the things that are really important to someone in the household. Because as you look across, your neighbors, you look across the street, all that's important, but there's nothing more important than what's going on with you in your household. And so that's tremendously important. And we have a lot of athletes that are doing this too. And Frank spoke to the fact that anyone can take this. We talk about people working out and can they work out in a fasted state and stuff like that. So those are things that are important, but we find that people are performing much better. So that's great, and I appreciate that. And our next speaker is a young lady who we've known for years and years, and she's been dear to our heart. She has a helping hand anytime she's able, and that's been one of the things that truly impressed about her. She just had a heart of gold for everyone. And so when we got to know her, she talked about some of the challenges she had, and as she got started on this protocol, she's had some significant changes. So I want to bring on Annie Herron. And let her talk about her and her family, especially her son, because that was one of the things that at the heart for her. And when with Annie, she was kind of like, what, I hear what you're saying, and I kind of appreciate it, but let me see how we can work this thing out. So with that, we want to bring on Annie, and Annie would share a little bit of of your story and what got you with the, before and after.
Thank you so much, Johnny. I appreciate it. Hey guys, how are y'all doing? I hope everybody's having a good evening. I wanted to jump on here real quick and share my story. It's short and sweet. I started the program in November of 24. Really, my initial thought was to get my son started because he was struggling. We were both diagnosed with prediabetes, and he was also just having a really hard time going through school, severe depression, all sorts of issues. He also had dark marks around his neck, and I'm sure, that didn't do him any good as far as, being bullied at school was a thing. I did notice that he tended to keep his hair kind of long, and I always, try to get him to cut it, and come to find out that's what it was. Um, but yeah, I went ahead and got it. I started it with him. I decided to make the decision to just do it together, and we made it work. We had a lot of great success the first couple of months. Like every month, each of us were dropping like 20 pounds each. And so we continued on it, and we've been able to maintain it. The darkness on his neck has gone away, and other creases and everything. His confidence has really, been built up. The depression is basically gone. His school, and the real reason I can tell that is because he was getting, C's and D's before, and now it's A's and B's, and he's really, goal oriented and looking forward to going to college and just talking about all the good things that he just never wanted to talk about before. And so to me, like that honestly was worth every single penny, and I would 100% do it all over again, even if it cost me even more money. Like to me it was worth it, and I truly feel like it saved my son's life because it got pretty dark, and I'm not going to go into detail about it because I'll cry. But it literally saved his life. I cannot thank Johnny and Beverly enough for continuing to, just be there for me. And we have known each other for a really long time. And I just really appreciate y'all. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't really be where I'm at today. And honestly, this has been the easiest, most rewarding program that I've ever done. I've been able to, both me and my son have been able to maintain our weight. We got down to a really healthy weight, and I'm super happy with where I'm at right now. And, I definitely have never gone this long before, being able to maintain. So I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much for having me.
No, we thank you, Annie, because when we talk about families, at the heart of it, I think children are essential because of all of us protecting not just the individual parents, but the community at large. And we realize that in the community, the environment that we're in now, so many people are having challenges with the food sources that we have and the kids and what they're eating and whatnot. And this is a struggle. And kids can be cruel at times. And so being able to see this young man change his continence from, academically on one hand, but just his self-esteem as a young man going out into the world of being able to do great things because they are our future. And so we're so excited about that. And if you don't mind, I would like to share my screen just for a second because I did have a picture of Annie and what we're talking about in terms of transformation. So let me see. Can I bring that right quick? And so this was just a brief transformation. If you look at this was October 24 to May 25. And Annie has made significant strides even since then. And so even though this is not a weight loss product, this is something that is allowing people to do the things they've been wanting to do with their bodies. And so again, Annie, we truly appreciate you coming on board and just sharing a little bit about that. Now, what we're going to look to do is bring forth our main speaker for the night. Now, this is a young lady who I have had the privilege to know for beyond the last 25 years, because this is my wife, Beverly Grandison. And so for many of you, I tell people you love her or you hate her, but most people love her in general. So we have a joke about that. Beverly is a retired Army captain. She was airborne qualified, received the Bronze Star, and so many other accolades in the military. But once she actually faced an MS diagnosis, and that was one of the things that ended her military career. But she refused to accept that as the downfall, because if you know Beverly, when she comes up to a challenge or she comes up to a mission, it's about executing the mission. And so for her, it was like, we're not going to lose this battle. And so we did the things, we thought we were already healthy, but nevertheless, we continue to press forward and realize that food can be medicine. So instead, she built her health, and dedicated her life to helping other people do the same. She's since got her certification as a wellness practitioner. She's a health coach, a corporate wellness consultant. She teaches. She's in the schools, y'all. I'm telling you, watching her with these kids is phenomenal. I mean, they just gravitate to her. So I love and appreciate her for that, and especially the body work that she does. So again, she has several credentials, but at the root of all of it, Beverly wants the best for everybody, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing. She wants the best, and as she always says, you deserve so much more. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the Mrs. Beverly Grandison.
Okay, well, thank you, thank you, thank you. And wow, I am just elated right now. Thank you, Trent. Thank you, all of our leadership, which is superb, extraordinary, y'all. I'm enjoying this journey every step of this way. So I am going to share my screen, and I need y'all right now to put on your seatbelt, because we're about to take it to about 120 really quick. So there's going to be slides flashing through really, really quick. But the goal is that you are going to get the message and get it very, very clearly in my allotted time. And there's a lot to share and a lot in a very short period of time. So we're gonna make magic happen. Somehow I'm gonna make magic happen for y'all. All right, so we're gonna go to slideshow here. It looks like it's a lot. And I'm also going to share my sound so that way you can hopefully hear the two videos that I do have that will come out of this. And I will tell you, Trent, just thank you again, because he's correct. Usually what you see on here on these slides, and everybody can see the slides, correct? So usually what you see on these slides, I mean, what you hear from the science calls are usually medical practitioners in the field, right? Well, I am a certified, I am a professional counselor in its own right. But I will tell you that I am coming from a little bit of different of angle. And so I just really appreciate Trent trusting me enough to know that we're going to pull this off and you're going to get the message. And at the end of this call, you're going to really understand that you deserve so much more. Okay, so let's get started, because it's a lot in a short period of time. As you heard, I am Beverly Grandison. I will explain a little bit more of who I am and a story that unpacks all of this really, really quick. And when I say this, I say, who is this for? Okay, maybe you're on information overload right now, or maybe you are just tired of taking a lot of all of these pills. Maybe you do have some weight to lose and you've heard some of those stories already. Or maybe you're at a space because the environment is charged. You feel overwhelmed and stressed out right now. I feel you. Trust me. I was feeling that right before this. And then maybe you're at this place where you just want to quit. You're sick of work, bills, sick of the kids, sick of gym dinner. You're just sick and tired of everything right now and you want to quit. But I'm going to tell you, I don't want you to be tired of trying to do this alone. Okay. Because you might be thinking that if I tap out, who's going to be there for me? Well, if that's you, I want you to continue to remember that you deserve so much more. And when I say there's a lot more coming, you better believe that. So here's the story, the true story of an officer and a gentleman. I'm the officer and Johnny is the gentleman. Okay. I actually used to jump out of perfectly good airplanes, run 4 or 5 miles a day, thought I was Bionic Woman, Wonder Woman, and my new hero, Cleopatra Jones. And I didn't know any better. I was drinking a lot of soda and candy bars and running on adrenaline. And after my Afghanistan tour, I had a brick wall running. So before I start that, I will tell you I am married to Johnny, my other half, right? The yes, amazing guy, a love of my life, and I'm just grateful beyond measure. And we're dinks. So that is dual income, no kids. And I will tell you that that's a testament of 25 years of marriage to be married without kids, y'all. Marriage is not for the weak. I want you to remember that, okay? And so, like I said, jumped out of planes and March is Women's Month, and it is also Nutrition Month, March, if you did not know that, right? So I had a big brick wall run in. After my Afghanistan tour, chronic fatigue set in, and I couldn't shake it for 2 years. Trying to fight back and forth, running to the doctors, what's wrong? They couldn't tell me. Well, half my face goes numb, half my taste sensory disappear. I can't lift anything with my right hand. They have to run further tests. They rule out a whole bunch of different diseases. They land on, as you heard Johnny say, multiple sclerosis, an autoimmune disease. Life altering, completely career ending. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Plan ABC was the military. So I got medically retired. And after that, I had to figure this thing out. I also figured out that the civilian world really just wasn't that much for me. So I decided to go get my master's in professional counseling. Now, I will say, as a counselor, and if you're adverse to counseling, call it a therapist, a guide, I don't care who you call it, but everybody needs a counselor, and your counselor should have a counselor. And this is just a few benefits of counseling. This is very important. Then I got my certified worksite wellness specialist. Basically, we going to corporations and empower diverse groups and organizations to accomplish their mental health, wellness, career, and education goals. Well, more recently, then I decided to get my practitioner, certified wellness practitioner. And again, we're going to deal with everything that we're talking about and have been talking about in this community to help you improve your health through nutrition, lifestyle changes, metabolic balance, and prevention of chronic disease. That's the goal at the end of the day. So I want you to have a paradigm shift. Pam Popper, Dr. Pam Popper, somebody I've followed and mentored under actually, and she's an advocate for patients' rights. And she says, and I have to read this, and then we don't like to read slides, but I have to read this one because I think it's so important that you hear it. We believe that it is a fundamental right of all consumers to have a complete analysis of the risk and benefits of any test, drug, supplement, procedure, or medical practice of any type before making a decision to proceed. This is not currently the way medicine is practiced, and we intend to change it. Because if you think that I don't think in the back of my mind forever that had I known the information that you're about to hear and share today and with the stories that you're hearing years ago, well, I probably wouldn't be talking to you here. So obviously, this is what needed to happen. I'm okay with that now. Okay. And hopefully you will be. So I want you to glean the nuggets as we go, because again, I'm about to go into next fifth gear. All right. So I want to start with Rewind Your Future. And this is a very powerful, because we talked about children. You heard Annie's story and you heard about her son, teenager, who is doing so much better now. But I want you to say, and let me make sure, give me a thumbs up that you can hear this. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? You cannot hear it. Okay, hold on a second. Computer sound here. Okay, let's try that. Can you hear that now?
No.
Can you hear that now? No? Still cannot hear it.
All right, what do we got?
Okay. I'll walk you through it. This is a 32-year-old, 300-pound. The doctor's asking, how does this happen?
We can hear
And
now.
basically, we're rewinding this child's future.
We can hear it
Okay,
now,
so look
Beverly.
at the pictures.
Can I get a
He's ordering fast food,
diabetes?
have diabetes, got to make a change.
You're graduating.
He's graduating now. So now, watch TV. You wouldn't have to leave. 15, 13, hiding food in his drawers. They're getting a deep dish.
You have to make a change.
You got to make a change, the doctor says. You got to make a change. 10 years old, 8 years old.
Jump.
Good job, gentlemen. And what does the teacher give them? Candy, junk food. We know all of these carbohydrates, starch. Look at this.
Still can't believe you give this child something.
I still can't believe you give this child this food. It's the only thing that'll make him stop. So listen, y'all, our children's futures do not have to look like this. There is still time to reverse the unhealthy habits our kids take into adulthood. Now you can Google this, just put rewind your future and it'll come up and you will see that for what it is. Oh, I hate that you guys can't hear though. So this is the criticality of this, guys. Look, how bringing food could help school children. It literally in 30 days, you can improve reading, spelling, and writing by just changing the diet, cleaning up that gut. That is huge, y'all. Dr. Sears, a renowned pediatrician globally. 1 in 3 people live with some form of cardiovascular disease. 1 in 3 women, cancer. 1 in 2 men, cancer. 1 in 3 will develop diabetes. 1 in 3 is obese. 160 million people are living with chronic pain. And trust me, I understand that now. I didn't understand it 10 years ago when I was briefing this. And national healthcare expenditures, we already know, cannot handle this. But understand that 75% of all chronic disease is preventable. So imagine this truth. Disease is not hereditary. And do you realize that more people are diagnosed? More people, let me go back. More people die from the diagnosis than more people die from the diagnosis of the disease than the disease itself. Can you imagine that? Because really, as a man think it, so is he. So I don't want you to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, okay? And this here is what truly blew me away. When we know better, we should do better. And I honestly thought I was in the 7% of American adults that were metabolically healthy. I did not know I was in the 93%. And I will tell you that Dr. Tiffany, she says it all the time. And when she said it this time, just like a bell went off for me, that heart disease remains the #1 disease killer for decades. And there is no cure. Is that not something to pause? Diabetes and dementia are still in the top 10. But yet we have all of these associations that what are they really doing? And so we understand that the food is probably not as nutritious as it was. Now, remember, diabetes type 2 used to be adult onset. Now it's type 2 diabetes because we're getting it younger and younger. We're dying younger and younger and getting killer. And y'all, we know all of the synthetic drugs out there, all of them, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, whatever else ones out there. There's many others that they actually are killing it in the stock markets right now. Okay. And there is a difference. I did not know, being in the medical and health and wellness field for over 20 years, y'all. No one told me. If you knew that insulin resistance was tied to all of this before you started or got educated with the Feel Great, okay, community, put in the chat 1, because this was mind-blowing to me. I had no idea that this was all tied to insulin resistance. So I can't see the chat. So hopefully the chat is going off that you probably knew or didn't know. I did not know this. And not understanding, getting to the root of this is the issue. Also, dysbiosis, gut issues. Gut issues. You heard Johnny said he had Crohn's. Gut issues tied to all of this. Again, put in a chat a 1 or put in a 2. Put a 2 if you actually knew that your gut literally is tied to all of this. Guys, this is real talk. And there is light at the end of the tunnel, okay? So the signs and symptoms of insulin resistance, you heard some of that. Dark patches, fatigue and low. If you think that premenstrual syndromes of all of that stuff is supposed to be the brain fog and all stuff is supposed to be skin tags, which is what I had, which made me a believer. I had no idea that it was not hereditary, constantly hungry, all of that stuff, insulin resistance, mind blowing to me. And of course, we always knew that sugar absolutely is the enemy. It's not salt, it's sugar. And if you understand that and how we get it, that the average American can consume this much in a year, okay? 756 donuts, 60 pounds of cakes and cookies, 23 gallons of ice cream, 7 pounds of potato chips, 22 pounds of candy, 200 sticks of gum, 365 servings of soda, 90 pounds of fat, a 5-pound bag of sugar a week. That should just be alarming to all of us because it was to me years ago when I also talked about this, okay? But we didn't know. We didn't know. So Dr. Sears, and I'm going to skip this. I want you to see this visual so much, and I don't know why my sound is not.
Hey, Beverly, your sound works good now. We can hear it.
We can hear it.
Okay, you can. Okay, great. So, okay, let me see. Let's see here. Let me know if y'all can hear this because this is a very powerful visual. Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
Not right now. We can hear the last one.
You could hear the last one. Okay, hold on. I don't know. Wow. Okay, that's sad. Okay, so let me see now. Can you hear this now?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet.
I'm a showman.
That's interesting.
Doctor.
Yep,
Okay.
we got it. We can hear it.
Okay, it's a delay. Okay,
Science. When I was putting together my own health plan,
get this
I was
book. Great
fortunate
book.
to have input from some of the world's top scientists. In fact, this next bit of information won the Nobel Prize. Let me begin with a quiz. What do you think is the largest hormone-producing organ?
Yes, guys. Yes, I'm going to pause it.
B, your thyroid gland, C, your adrenal gland, or D,
Okay, your endothelium.
endothelium.
Okay, which one do you think it is? Put it in the chat. A, B, C, or D, your largest. Okay, and I'm going to keep going. Put it in the chat. A, pancreas, B, thyroid, C, adrenal, D, endothelium.
The thin layer of cells that covers the lining of your arteries and blood vessels. If you answered D, endothelium, you're correct. If you were to open up all the blood vessels in your body and lay them out flat, they would cover a surface area larger than a tennis court. And I believe the most exciting medical discovery of healthy aging in the past decade is that the lining of your blood vessels, your endothelium, functions as your body's own internal pharmacy. If you're searching for the fountain of youth, it's right there inside your blood vessels. I believe that having a healthy endothelium is the #1 key to healthy aging. So go easy on your endothelium. The reason it's so important is because once upon a time, doctors thought blood vessels were like a rubber hose. Blood comes in one end, goes out the other to nourish your tissues, and nothing happens to the blood along the way. Not true. The billions of cells that line your arteries and form the endothelium don't just sit there. They do something. As I said, the endothelium is your personal pharmacy, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, making medicines, custom made just for you. But you have to take care of it. The best way to do that is to keep what I call sticky stuff out of your body. Sticky stuff is the bad stuff you put into your body, such as foods that are high in sweeteners and saturated fats that can start to accumulate within your body. I call this my sticky stuff theory of aging. Most of the ailments of aging are caused by sticky stuff gradually accumulating in your tissues, especially in the brain, heart, skin, and joints. Let's take a look at 2 blood vessels, or 2 internal pharmacies, using my sticky stuff analogy. One primetime pharmacy is closed. The other is open. Notice our primetime husband who sits too much and eats too much of the wrong foods. When he puts sticky stuff in his mouth, he gets sticky stuff in his arteries, and several bad things start to happen. The first thing that happens, the level of sticky stuff goes up in his blood. Blood cells stick together and form clots. Sticky stuff accumulates over the medicine bottles in his endothelial pharmacy, so they can't open. The arteries become narrower. So this prime timer's pharmacy is closed, and his prime time is destined for the 3 Ds: disability, disease, and doctors. But notice what's going on in our prime timer, who moves more and eats more seafood, fruits, and vegetables and whole grains. Less sticky stuff goes in her mouth, so less sticky stuff accumulates on her blood cells, and her blood flows more freely. This allows her endothelial pharmacy to dispense the right medicines, the right time, in the right dosage. And the arteries themselves are wider and more flexible. Your endothelial pharmacy stays open, which leads to a longer, healthier life. Now, you're probably wondering what exactly is in those millions of microscopic nuts and bolts. There are natural medicines that lower the highs, such as high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Endothelium even dispenses medicines to keep your blood from getting too sticky so it doesn't form dangerous clots. It also makes medicines called anti-inflammatories that keep the lining of your arteries smooth like Teflon instead of sticky like Velcro. Your pharmacy within also dispenses natural repair substances, sort of like a self-maintenance crew on a well-traveled highway. This giant pharmacy also dispenses antioxidants, your body's natural anti-aging medicine. There are 3 keys to keeping your endothelium smooth and not sticky. Things I'll cover in greater depth in a few minutes. 1, eat more fruits, vegetables, seafood, and whole grain. 2, take the right nutritional supplement that gives you a wide variety of anti-sticky stuff antioxidants. And 3, what I'm going to talk about next.
All right. So hopefully you got what that's all about, right? Because I love Dr. Sears. He's an amazing pediatrician. But taking control of your health starts with your mindset. New mindset, you're going to get new results today. And a little action today equals big results tomorrow. So here are 5 little lifestyle hacks real quick. And I'm going to fly through these really quick because I got to get Johnny back on to really talk about the protocol that you hear so much about. Okay. But everybody knows they need to drink more water. Regardless of the facts, you got to drink more water. Does anybody know? You can put it in the chat. How much water are you supposed to drink a day? How much water are you supposed to drink a day? And you got to get more sleep. Most of us are sleep deprived right now, and that is not good because who's sleeping right now? And I know on the East Coast it's a little later. I got it. But can you wake up without your alarm clock? Would be the question with energy. So let's bust this myth. Do you believe that you can catch up on the sleep that you missed? How many of y'all want to wait till the weekend and then say, I'm going to catch up on that sleep? It doesn't work, okay? Because the fact is that you're going to damage your circadian rhythm. And guess what? Your circadian rhythm results in Alzheimer's, degraded performance, mental and behavioral changes, and even weight gain. So sleep is important. Lack of sleep, also obesity. So rule number 1, go to sleep and you'll live longer. Rule number 2, when in doubt, go back to rule number 1, okay? So eat real food. That's non-negotiable. And guess what? We had no idea when we used to tell people this, because that's the foundation, that fiber is your friend. And you're going to hear about a very powerful fiber matrix that we have embraced, that has healed Johnny's gut even better, that has healed so many guts, so that dysbiosis is way less and not happening. And it's reversed. And guys, it has been a life transforming understanding of how important getting fiber into your diet. Now, deep breathing. We're very serious about this deep breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. And I love these breathing techniques. These are my favorite breathing techniques. The Tumo is the most recent one that I learned, but I love the Ayurvedic, the box breathing, which is the military, and then the Tumo breathing. You're going to take like 30 quick breaths, hold, and then release. It's pretty awesome how this is a great practice for peace, stress relief, and overall better health. Okay. So, and then move it or you lose it. Guys, exercise is not a dirty word. So, some of you out there might think you have to sweat your hair out, suffer for an hour, just be in pain, just to be healthy. No, Some of y'all believe no pain, no gain. Exercise doesn't have to be painful. Exercise doesn't even have to, you know, be an hour. I mean, how about you just start with 15 minutes? If you're not doing anything right now, start with 15 minutes a day. Get up to 30 minutes a day. That's really where I want you. Because guess what? You can increase your life by 3 years by just exercising. There's a great book, Younger Next Year. Get that book. And there's two medical doctors that wrote that book, and they will tell you they did case studies on their patients that the patients who moved more absolutely had the healthier life, had a better quality of life. And they cut their death risk by 15%. So how to exercise without even knowing it. And I love Trent's co-working space up in Provo, Utah. That has everything, right? Because if you don't understand sitting is the new smoking, please walk with your talk. They have these in that office. You can just walk and actually exercise and work. Makes sense to me? How about get a standing desk? As a matter of fact, guess what? I'm at a standing desk right now. So I can pick up my legs and exercise and I can do everything. I'm not sitting, I'm actually standing at a standing desk. Okay. And then tip 3, don't let your laptop, oh goodness, be the reason that you have degraded health. Okay. Please, let's take control of these simple things that we can do that can tell you get up. Okay. Get up and move your body, stretch. Stretching is exercise. So even just stretch in the shower, and then wake up, do some crunches. Start with that. That's a really good hack. 10 crunches, and you'll get up and you'll start feeling better every day. So let's recap that real quick. Walk and talk, standing desk, stretch in the shower, wake up, sit-ups. Okay, that makes sense. And don't forget this rule: you cannot outwork your diet, because there really, really is a science to living. And plant-based doesn't mean skinny, because many of you know that I am a plant-based eater, and doesn't mean healthy either. Okay, because potatoes are plant-based, but eating too much of those will absolutely give you diabetes. We know that. Okay, and here's the fact: food is medicine. And the shocking truth is that oftentimes, do you know that your diet is a better prescription than for your health than medicine? So please get that seriously. Because wouldn't it be nice if the doctors prescribed food as medicine, as your medicine? Really? Because really, food truly is medicine. The more colors, the healthier you're going to be. And food can actually cure or kill. So is your food, ask yourself, killing you or healing you? You don't have to change the diet overnight. And that's what you're going to learn tonight, which is very exciting to me. Because this protocol, as you heard, is so simple and sustainable that you just make this one simple change, it's going to be worth it. And the best way that you can absolutely change your diet is to just expand your options. Just try a little bit of things every now and then. Because remember, it's not about we're not taking anything away from you. I used to be the food police, no longer the food police, because I just want to teach you how to eat, not so much what to eat, but we do want you to have healthy food, positive thinking. We want you to have a happy family, exercise, all the basics, back to the basics, because that does not change, will add to your life. And so as a leader, and every one of you are leaders in your own right, we want that to add to your focus, okay? We want to add to your energy. And you ask me how? Oh, I'm glad you asked, because this is a very powerful, it all starts in your thoughts, in your head, in your mind. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, it becomes your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. And you can't get a return on investment that you never made. So by far, okay, the best investment you can make in yourself is in you. So I have a question for you. Have you truly invested in you? Your health, your happiness, your life? Have you? Are you worth it? I surely hope you do believe, because of course you are, but you got to believe it. Get in this community, align yourself with the right type of circles and relationships that align with who you are, because it does make a difference. So I want you to put your name in there. I am, whoever you are, I am healthy and I'm in charge of the life I deserve. All right. So I'm done. So Johnny, go ahead from there, because hopefully you got the basics of the foundation of what needs to happen. And Johnny's going to come back with the rest of the protocol, probably a couple more stories, so that he can actually show you how to make this happen.
And that's what marriage is all about. So we appreciate that. Thanks for all all the love and seeing the chat. So you can look in the chat and get, a lot of people loving what you did and what you said. So we really appreciate that. So we will kind of keep it moving just to continue going. So I'm gonna share my screen real quick. But in the interim, we have a lot of people who may have already tried the protocol or been working with it and so forth. And if so, maybe put some of the things that you've seen in your life or how it's helped you into the chat while we switch over. And so what I'm going to do is actually come over and I'm going to just kind of hit the highlights of this. If I can share my screen. Can you all see my screen now?
No.
Okay. Let me go back here. Try it again. Yeah,
There
well
you
now.
go. Yeah, it's coming.
Okay, so there we kind of highlighted. When we look at this screen, we see a lot of different conditions that many of us have grown up and heard people talk about forever, whether it be diabetes, needing to lose some weight, migraines, Alzheimer's, high blood pressure, cholesterol. Those are things that we see and hear about all the time. If it's not us, it's probably somebody in our family or someone we know that are dealing with these conditions. But what we didn't realize, if they can call it a condition, they can call a pill for it. They can name a pill to prescribe to you, but not realizing at the heart of all of those conditions really is insulin resistance. And as we address the insulin resistance head on, these conditions tend to get better because whatever you have excess sugars that you kind of talked about, that sticky stuff in the video, wherever your body says, I can't take any more of this glucose sugar into the cell, it starts resisting it. And so if it's not to the cell and you can only keep a tablespoon and a half of sugar in your bloodstream at any one time, your body has to stash it somewhere. So if your body puts it into your joints, arthritis, into your brain, Alzheimer's, dementia, depression, brain fog. If it pushes on your skin, eczema, skin tags and other. So as we continue to look at the way the foods are being processed and the environments in which we live, what we're doing, we realize that they pretty much set us up for failure in so many regards. And in our modern day diet, we tend to just eat all day long. We wake up in the morning, we're eating. We get in between work, got a snack, munchies, we take a snack. Time for lunch, we're eating then. Then, hey, got the afternoon, got to put, got the snack machine down the road, so we get a snack there. Of course, get that 2 o'clock snack because we have an office party today. And then with dinner, we tend to have a very large dinner, and then we had a midnight snack. So we are constantly bombarding our system with food all day long. And in nature, God designed it where every sugar in nature already came packaged in its own fiber. So when you look at that apple, which has plenty of pulp, plenty of fiber in it, we ultra process it and make apple juice. Same thing with rice. Well, rice had a brand to it, and dark rice, we process it and make white rice. We can keep doing that with oranges, make orange juice. We can do it with sugar cane, process it down to sugar. So that is just phenomenal where the industry found out that if they could take the fiber out of our diets, they can make us want to eat more and more and more. So what we are doing is we're bringing the fiber back because we realize that fiber helps to curb the appetite between meals. And it realizes that is it helps drive down the cholesterol that's getting the blood absorbed into the bloodstream. It helps reduce carbohydrate absorption into the body in general, and it slows the rate of sugars into the system. So the more we can consume the fiber, it feeds our good bacteria. A lot of times we look at, we talk about that bad thing, the bad demon on your one shoulder, talking about, man, we can do this. We can go do all the bad stuff we want to do. Another one like, no, we probably need to not do that bad stuff. Well, the same thing in your gut. You have good bacteria and good gut bacteria and bad bacteria, and they're at war with one another. And so the one you feed is going to grow. And so in our case, as we use the fiber, we're actually feeding the good bacteria, which is helping our gut system to grow. And so when you talk about the dysbiosis that she mentioned, and the fiber is going to be feeding that. So when we see IBS and constipation, diarrhea, the skin, anxiety, and depression, all of those are signs related to your gut, which is your second brain. Even the Crohn's disease I have is intestinal chronic inflammation in the intestinal lining. So we see those things. The University of Sydney, which is the home of the glycemic index, they talked about that absorption rate into our bloodstreams. And even the Cleveland Clinic, which is the #1 heart hospital in the world, they said that such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. So that's how powerful this is, the fact that the research has been done over and over again to show that the fiber that we have is really significant in that. And even the Unimodic, it makes fasting even easier. It supports the well-being. It gives you a cognitive process. So we talked about the dementia and the brain fog. It helps maintain endurance. Frank was able to talk about how doing the exact same regimen, the exact same workouts, by starting the protocol with the field grade system, he was able to increase or decrease the time, which is a good thing in this case, just because the body is now performing and working right. It promotes satiety, which means you're not going to be having those hunger noises, those cravings all day long, because anytime you think about food, you can just take a sip of it. And then it helps support the weight management effort. So a lot of times, even when people are trying to work out, trying to fast, trying to eat right, whatever, they still have the thing around the shoulder, that food noise is coming back to them. And so it really helps them support their weight management efforts and maintain it. And that's the good thing about it. It helps your body produce the ketones, which is actually helping to burn it. And we realize that, we hear a lot about the GLP-1s, those injections that so many people are taking in mega doses. We realize that that's a hormone that's already in our intestinal tract. And so with Ardenamide, it actually helps produce 67% more of your body's own natural GLP-1 enzyme versus having to mega doses, which shuts down your own system. And so that's something that we see that's significantly important. And simply how we do this daily protocol is when you wake up in the morning, instead of eating breakfast, we simply sip on a tea. It's one of these little simple packets that we have here. We sip on that tea every time we think about food. And then from the time you wake up to lunchtime, just sip on the tea. Because it has vitamins and nutrients in it, it's not like you're starving yourself. Your body will feel satisfied, and that's what the satiation is all about. And then when it's time for your lunch, you can eat your lunch. When it's time for your dinner, eat your dinner. Don't snack in between. If you feel those munchies, you can take a second, the tea that we have. And then it's time for dinner again. And when you're back to dinner, at the heaviest carbohydrate meal, whether it be your lunch or your dinner, which is your breads, pastas, fibers, rices, whatever, that's when you just drink your balance with cold water. And so you will find that it coats your gut system. It helps with the microbiome. It's not a fiber that's designed to help you poop. This is a fiber that's actually helping to coat, line, and help heal your intestinal tract. So it's doing wonders for you just as you live your everyday life. And that's going to help you with the fat burning as well. It's going to come in a box. It's going to give you 2 packets of the Unimighty tea, along with 1 package of the fiber for daily consumption. And so it works wonders with that. And so when we talk about many of the testimonials, before we get to our next story, we have a lot of people here who, even though this is not a weight loss product, if that's what your body needs, that's when it's going to happen. I tell people, if you had a headache, your brother had a backache, and your son had stumped his toe, but you all took an aspirin, how would the aspirin know where to go? Your body says, this is what I need right now to help me do what I'm trying to do. The same thing with nutrition. If you can give your body what it needs to help function, it's going to want to heal and repair itself because that's what it's designed to do. And so in the case when we talk about people with no gout, the A1Cs are dropping, he's down 89 pounds. We see these things. We have people who are losing not only weight, but their triglycerides are going down, the cholesterol.
So
We have
Johnny,
people.
Johnny,
Yes.
we only have 3 minutes, so
Yeah.
let's go ahead and get Peggy on because they can see the testimonials. And then there's a lot of testimonies in the chat too, which are amazing. So please look at the chat because focus, energy, everything is happening. So let's bring Peggy on, and then because I do want to respect our time.
Absolutely. And that's where we talk about, marriage is a partnership in all that we do. So with that, we are going to bring up Peggy Newby. Now, Peggy is one of our ride or die. She is a registered nurse. She and her husband, she talk a little bit about him, but she does a dynamic job in the community of just helping people. She's both on the administrative side and the clinical side. And we love her because she loves on us. And so with that, we'll turn it over to you, Miss Peggy Newby.
Thank you, Johnny, and thank you for this opportunity. I just have a story about my mom, who has always stated that she never wants to live with any of her children. She wants to live her life independently until its fullest. And I want to help her do that. But I started to notice that my mom, our deal is I can't put cameras in her house, but I have cameras around her house. And she has to go outside on the porch every day and kind of give me a wave. And I can also see her as she's walking about the yard. So she started to slow down. She was walking to the mailbox and she kind of shuffled. She wasn't walking. And as we're talking on the phone, which I call her twice a day just to make sure she's okay. She lives in North Carolina. I'm in Virginia. We're 5 hours away, and I manage her care long distance. But as we're talking on the phone, she would get really upset because she couldn't remember words. And that would really aggravate her. and she just had no energy. So my mother is a Southern girl, born in the church, and she stays in church all the time. So when she told me that I'm not feeling well, I just don't have the energy that I used to have, I became concerned. And I realized that she may not be able to reach her goal of being independent. She doesn't want to live with her children. She wants to live independently. So I started her on this protocol of the 2 T's and fibers, which she calls it. And she doesn't quite take it like prescribed, but she does take it every day. And I noticed that she started to feel better. She said, I have a little bit more energy. I'm like, well, that's great, Mom. And I started noticing that as we're talking on the phone, she stopped having those moments of brain confusion, like can't remember the word. And so after a month, I'm like, Mom, do you realize that you're not getting upset because you can't remember words? She's like, yeah, that I am noticing that. I'm like, great. So her brain fog was clearing. Her doctors have had her at a hemoglobin A1C of 8 because she's a type 2 diabetic. And for her age, that was fine. My mother's 87 years old. That wasn't okay for me, which is another reason I started her on the protocol. She's been at an 8 for a couple years. She started the protocol the summer of 25. A couple months into it, I told you start feeling better. She called me a little bit later, a couple months in, and was like, I'm just not feeling good. I don't feel like going to church. That was a red flag for me. She's not really wanting to go to church. So I said, well, Mom, have you been taking your tea and your fiber? She goes, no, I forgot. I said, well, get back on that in a couple of days. Let me know how you're feeling. She does. She gets back on it. She's religious. She's sticking to it. I'm noticing she is outdoors with this little belt around her, raking the yard. And she is now not just walking to the mailbox. She is sashaying to the mailbox. She's twisting. She's waving to the neighbors. She is in her happy place. My mother is 87, living independently, driving herself to church, and is living her dream of being independent and being able to do wonderful, great things. Actually, she came on the cruise with me and we had a phenomenal time. The protocol is awesome. It is giving her life back. She is having the best life ever. And I am so blessed to be able to be a part of that journey with her and to help her realize her goal. So thank you, thank you, thank you for introducing me to this product.
Awesome. So guys, look, we're at the end of the time. So I'm going to end it right here because I know there's probably questions that we need to answer. And Trent, at the end, you can probably just even stop the recording. But guys, you heard from a mom with a child, you heard from a couple, and even with health concerns and athleticism. And then you heard from a mom with a mother. And so we try to cover all aspects for you to understand that this protocol really works. Go back to the basics, okay? It doesn't change. And adding this protocol to our lives has significantly impacted so much more. So Trent, again, thank you. I know we're 2 minutes over. I don't want to belabor the time, but I know somebody, and you can either end the recording here so it doesn't have to go over too much more, but I know somebody asked me about the MS diagnosis, and I will tell you that diet change and definitely this protocol. If you all were to look at my medical records today, my chiropractor said it today, and I love my chiropractor. He's amazing. He said, how you're functioning is extraordinary. And I credit that to my lifestyle and now this Feel Great system that has significantly given me a lot. I mean, I was high energy anyway, but it's definitely helped me to sustain it. And then also to get rid of these skin tags. And I mean, it's just been a game changer. So it's all good. Yes, yes, and yes. So sorry about that. All right, Trent. Yes, we're done. We're done. We're done.
Okay, this has been awesome. Thank you guys so much for hosting this call. I just want to come on and say, and we could have kept going. I mean, I would have loved to hear a couple more stories, but I appreciate that you respect time, and I do too. I always try to start on time and end on time. Johnny and Beverly Grandison, Thank you so much. Thank you to all you who shared stories. The Grandisons have been instrumental now in helping hundreds, even thousands of people improve their health with this protocol. They're now taking it on the road to Kenya next month, to Africa. They're helping people around the world. And so it was an honor, just an absolute honor to have you guys lead this science call tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for coming. If you or somebody you love is struggling with their metabolic health, invite them to this call next week. They will thank you later. And if you're watching this and you weren't clear exactly on how to get the protocol, let me just give you one last little bit on that. So, people who order this protocol from the manufacturer or from Amazon pay about $250 a month for the protocol, and it is worth every penny of that. But because you're on this call, you have access to the friends and family pricing, which is about $80 to $90 less than that. So you will never ever pay the full price that you see on Amazon or other places. And when you order through the friends and family program, through our affiliate program, you will be able to get your own pay it forward link, and you can share friends and family pricing with friends and family. So it's a share the health program where you can make sure that you and your loved ones never pay the full price that you see on Amazon and other places. We want you to enjoy the protocol. We want it to make a difference in your life. And the best part is you can use it for 90 days. And if you're not satisfied, you can get a refund. It works. If you use it, it will work for you. Be consistent, use it properly, and it won't let you down. So reach out to whoever invited you to this call and ask for the discount link, the preferred pricing link, and we can get that to you. Thank you so much, Beverly.